You know, folks, I stayed up late and I did what I was supposed to do. I'm a good fan. I'm 1 week off of a fucking knee replacement, and I want Greg Williams' job. We're getting a feedback here from somewhere.
It's got to be on your end.
It's got to be on my end. And you are right again. I want his job. Greg Williams should be terminated. I mean, I don't want to hear this in the chat room. Damn, what a good win for the team. Greg Williams shit his pants. He's not head coach material. He failed the test. Terminate him at the end of the year. I mean, let me examine what happened at the end of this football game. I mean, it's one thing not to believe in yourself or what you're doing, okay? But to have a total brain fart moment where you say, okay, we're going to go for it 4th and 1. And then you don't have the power of your own conviction, even though you get them to jump off sides. And you call a timeout and bail them out so that their penalty doesn't matter. Why did you call the timeout, you foul-mouthed cock-sucking prick? Why did you call the timeout? Because you had a change of heart? No. So you could give the Broncos more time to prepare? Yes. Were you having, and I'm not wrong on this. I'm always fucking right about this. Always. 100%. He didn't have the power of conviction. Then explain to me in the chat room why he called the timeout.
Reach.
I want to know the 4th and goal fucking play.
Yes.
Not taking the fucking points. Making sure that they can't beat your ass with just a
Field goal.
Jinky ass field goal that you know this guy is going to instantly turn into fucking Matt Prater and kick it 68 goddamn yards.
Yeah, and you want to know the thing is you want to talk about putting Case Keenum in his comfort zone. He couldn't score a touchdown, you know. He couldn't score a touchdown, but he can put him in field goal range, can't he? Put him right into his comfort zone, playing his little dink and dunk football. He had plenty of time to get to the spot on the field that he would have needed to get to. The fact is, you know, all right, first, a non. The timeout, he panicked. Crazy. Thank you. He panicked because he had second thoughts about going for it. But when you have second thoughts about going for it, what you would normally do is bring in your field goal unit and go up by the requisite number of points for Greg, if you can't count that high.
And you make them score a touchdown.
That's correct. And then you kick the ball out of the end zone in the thin air, and they have to go 75 yards without any timeouts.
Gotta make them earn it.
With Case fucking Keenum, okay? No, Mark Jones, let's just be happy we won the damn game. No, I'm not happy because he has to be gone. He lost this game. He lost the game for the team by his indecisiveness. You cannot have, we fired countless quarterbacks because of their indecision in the pocket. You cannot have a head coach who is indecisive this way. Sorry.
You don't see Greg Williams being head coach next year.
No. I don't even want to see him on the team. It's gone. He doesn't have conviction. And the fact of the matter is, that the reason why he has that record as a head coach with the Buffalo Bills, because he just doesn't have the power of conviction. All Greg Williams drama aside, this one feels really good. If you're feeling really good right here, maybe you can see down my shorts. Maybe you can feel really good down there. No, it's not good enough for the players who did what they were supposed to do, who ran the football, ate up yardage, put themselves in a position to clearly win a football game on a chip shot.
How about that Chubb run, too?
That's it. I mean, they did everything they were supposed to do. They let Baker throw the ball, came up a yard short on the spot, but they let him throw the ball on the third down, so they gave him a chance to win the football game. Everything correct. And then Greg Williams tried to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Playing hero ball. That's what it was.
Ruined the entire fucking game for me. It makes me sick. That's right. All that tough guy talk, and he panicked at the moment of truth. That's exactly it. He's talking about, oh, you got to be tough. You got to be, fuck him. Fuck him. And again, it's real simple. It's real simple. You call the timeout, you kick the field goal. And it's like, okay, they jumped off sides, but you know something? I thought about it. And, so what does he do? He runs a deep, slow-forming handoff that they get into the backfield. And, it's just unbelievable. Jay Morgan says, well, Moo, I got news for you. They're 6-7-1. Let's be honest. Greg has a good chance to be head coach. Not in Cleveland, he doesn't.
No.
I guarantee you he's gone. I guarantee you he's finished. That's right. As a head coach, he's 17-31. He hasn't been a head coach since 2003, and there is a reason for that. And you just saw that with the play calling. Thank you, Big Lurker. Thank you.
Josh Heupel or bust?
Yeah, Yeah, and people here, it's like they're walking around with a puffed up dick about a 6-7-1 record. Come on.
You got to admit, Mr. Moohead, you guys are in position to possibly win the division. I mean,
look, I love my team. I love my team. And you're right, Phil Slauson, Dorsey will get it right. He will. But he just can't have this. I mean, I complained when they took the ball out of Baker's hands, but, we ran the ball with conviction instead of just handing it off up the middle. That first, that big run, 40-yard run or whatever it was with Chubb, that was kind of a really off-tackle kind of developing blocking play that they weren't expecting at all. They were expecting us to do what we do on film all the time, which is just bury our heads like a fucking Wolverine into the middle of the line and go down. And we did something different, and we got a big gain, and it put us in great field position, and it was wonderful. Just wonderful. I mean, and kudos for letting Baker run a play action fake and throw that little ball to Njoku. It was definitely worth it all, because he almost stretched out and got that first down. That's wonderful stuff. You came up a yard short. Don't ruin it by coming up with no points. Don't do that. I mean, and why do we carry a kicker on our roster? If you hate Greg Joseph that much, why didn't you bring in a real kicker instead of a guy from, Our Lady of Lost Causes?
I guess I couldn't find the guy from Occidental.
No, accidental, because that's exactly what it is if the ball goes through the goalpost. So let me say this. Now that I'm done with that, because he's not my head coach, and Dorsey can decide whether he's going to remain as the defensive coordinator, but I guarantee you he won't, because the head coach will choose his own defensive coordinator. The last play, we've been down on Jabril Peppers all season long, and he came in clean. That's as clean as somebody's going to get. And
clutch.
And I'll tell you something. What was great about it is I'm waiting for, they're going to call head-to-head. I'm waiting. But Case helped us out.
On the guy's body with his body.
Case went into fetal position, didn't he?
But, the other thing is he had a tremendous interception in the end zone to take away a touchdown.
Yeah, let me do my impression. I think I can do an impression of Case Keenum now on the final play of the game. All right, and he drops back. It's like, Mommy!
Just for you, Rick. Just for you.
Thank you.
What the fuck? Fetal position. Unbelievable. Wow. He just got run over by a truck. And
he looked like Glass Joe from that knockout game.
Yeah. Boosh.
Down for the count.
Right down the toilet. Yeah, let's see what other people in the chat room are saying. Archie Bunker. Do we still have a playoff chance if the Steelers win tomorrow? Now the situation we're in, because we won, they have to lose. The teams have to lose 2 out of their 3 remaining games, and it has to be Baltimore.
Well, there's the man of the hour right behind you.
What? Oh, there he is, Jabril. Yeah, way to go, dude.
He's the only guy from Michigan I like.
Hey, that would be funny if after the game, he comes back to Cleveland, people yell, "You're still from Michigan." It'd really fucking piss him off. Jay Morgan says, LMAO Moo, Jay Morgan, you've been down on Peppers all last year and this year. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. He can't return a punt to save his soul, and he has not been a particularly reliable guy, and they were hiding him 25 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And when you look at a high draft pick and that's what you end up getting, I would be a little questioning about that. But you see, in the end, let's not get too carried away because the scheme allowed him to come in clean. All right. I wonder if it were Myles Garrett, if he'd have missed. Okay. Two more.
Offside again.
2 more times. Yeah. Two more times. Yeah, absolutely.
You're right.
And he's doing the same move every time, trying to get outside and trying to go under. He looks like he's got limited moves to me, guys. But at any rate, we didn't give up the vital points when we were going to give them up to a team that is clearly, the Broncos are, let me explain. I'm going to turn my wrath now to another direction. It's like John Elway. Water on the brain, John. You notice how he gets older? He looks like he got water on the brain, It's like, how does a guy who is allegedly a great quarterback not be able to recognize one when he sees one? How do you, and it's kind of like, so you think you're going to stick with Keenum in the offseason? So they got to start all over. They got to start over a quarterback. And with their record being what it is now, 6-8, they're not going to get a great pick and they're not going to get a great quarterback. So it's going to be. They should have
drafted Rosen.
Well, they're going to bring in another goddamn, career backup guy. They're not going to get a frontline guy in Denver. And it's a shame because Denver's defense is pretty good. They tackled well. But no, they're not as good as we are. I'll be the first to admit that. They're not as good. So
maybe they can clone Craig Morton.
Yeah. Can Ken make it? Greg Williams is an idiot. Thank you. Navarre, I'm still in disbelief. It was set up for you to do what you always do. Trust the defense and kick the field goal. I know, right? When you think you have it all figured out, Navarre, it's like, no. Yeah. Michael Killey says, Greg Williams made 2 decisions that cost him his job. And I agree. I agree that these are the things that when it's kind of like, the show Chopped on the Food Network, It's like they get to the final round, 2 competitors, and they have to look at all 3 courses that they made. And one guy accidentally shit on a plate in the appetizer round. That comes back to haunt you, when you're looking to be a head coach in the NFL, I think that sin is the greatest single sin that you can make, because even we've seen some bad decisions made and the coaches would sit there and defend them after the game, and we'd hold our head saying, well, we know that guy can't be a head coach because he's just going to keep making bad decisions. But when you don't even believe and have the sense of conviction of your own play call, oh my goodness, it's like I could see his son, who's calling the defensive plays, going, thanks, Dad. You always like the other son better.
Hey, Mr. Moohead.
Yes.
Do you think it was Williams who called that run on 4th and 1, or do you think that was Kitchens?
At that point, it doesn't matter because it's obvious to the offense that you timeouted them and that the coach doesn't believe you're going to make it. The whole thing was poisoned. The well was poisoned. Any possible, extra bonus that you would have gotten for having the stones to go for it were lost because you TO'd your way out of it. Get a TO, Greg. Get a TO. You're not sure what the fuck you're doing. Get a TO. It's like, how do you turn back to Baker after the game and say, go back out there, and I know they're prepared for the run, but
he has too much faith in his own defense.
Well, I don't even think that's it. I think he doesn't have faith in offense winning a football game, and he tried to go out of his comfort zone, but in the last second, he did. He panicked. He fell out. You know.
We did shut down the run a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising that their running back Lindsey was not as big a factor as what we thought he would be. That is really why you only end up with 16 points. And we talked about this on the show, that we all knew that the range of points were going to be somewhere around 24-20, 20-17. It should have been, it should have been 20-16. We were all right there because this is the way the game plays out on paper, and it's the way it played out on the field. Case Keenum's just not good enough to hurt you with anything. And I'll tell you, when they had momentum, what was he doing throwing a dirigible to TJ Carey?
I mean, you have a request to shit on Jamie Collins. Mr. 15-yarder.
Oh, so Rick Jones says I tune in just for that. Okay, what can I say about Jamie Collins? Ooh, I'll do this like Al Pacino. Okay, hooah, you tough guy. All you can do is either be not noticed at all or hit somebody with the crown of your helmet because you're a pussy. Hooah.
I want to hear your Hulk Hogan impersonation.
Oh, you want to hear Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this is what he would say to Myles Garrett. What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do when you can't jump off sides to get to the quarterback? You're never gonna be able to get around these pythons, brother. Yeah, I used to do Randy.
You got a Macho Man in there?
Yeah, I used to do Macho Man. But it's been so long. Ooh, yeah. But I can't. I have to really start really thinking. But no,
it's a Slim Jim prop.
Yeah, that's true.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah, goddamn. I'm surprised the fucking Slim Jims kill him before everything else did. Huh? Austin DeGray says Keenum sucks. He sure does. And while we're talking about sucking, let's talk about.
That's always a good transition.
Yeah. I don't think that the Vikings made such a big step up by getting Cousins over Keenum. They're all. R. Jones is saying, bah, thanks for the Jamie Collins insult train. I'm like Triumph the insult dog when it comes to Jamie Collins. Every time. It's like every time he makes a mistake, I turn to my wife and I say, $12 million mistake. I mean, I'm like droning on this guy. It's like every mistake is a $12 million mistake. I mean, good God almighty. No, he's been a disappointment. Shane Reed says, go Browns. I'm all with you, Shane. I love the team. This team makes it interesting. Even if we are winning in a blowout, I'm still at the edge of my seat. What I'm happy about is that we're keeping our composure. We're making the plays we need to make. Baker's great in the red zone. And, I would have thought that at the very least that Freddie Kitchens would have had something in his manufactured home playbook. This is going to be an ongoing thing, folks. Okay. I just want you to understand now that, it wouldn't be a game if we didn't try the bobbled pitch to Perryman. It just, this is all part of the manufactured home playbook, and it goes something like this. Well, we got a Statue of Liberty. Yep, we do. Yep. We also got ourselves. Well, and we got a bunch of them where we pitch the ball backwards too. Well, then we got the deep handoff in the critical moment of the game that allows them to creep into the backfield after we've called timeout and let them get their defense set. I'm wondering if Freddie Kitchens is sitting there after the game saying, thanks a lot, Greg. Oh, you good old boy. You shit on me when I wasn't looking. Good God Almighty! If I were the offensive coordinator, I would kill the son of a bitch. And you know something? I think they did get him to jump off sides, but I don't think that was the intentional call. I think that was Baker, and then they stopped Baker from doing that too.
It is kind of remarkable we don't have Bubba Blue coaching the running backs now.
Oh, Bubba Blue. Cindy Sanders says next week's going to be fun. Hope they don't stick their head up their ass overconfident. You know, another thing I want to point out,
Well, is it Bengals next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome back to you.
Yeah. You know what I don't get is like, why when every other receiver gives the first down symbol after catching a first down, it's not a personal foul, but when Callaway does, it is. That would be
because he happened to be looking directly at that guy, and Roby was talking shit to him.
No,
all
he's just jawing at him
all the way through the play, from the line of scrimmage on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I don't get that. And the other thing I don't understand is, why can't you just, Perriman got hit in the face and they ejected the guy who did it, which is our former Toast. Remember Toast? Taylor. Yeah, he used to play for us. Yeah. Yeah, they bounced him out of the game. Why does Perriman have to go up there and put his hands on the player? Why can't he just walk away and we get a first down there? Why is there such a lack of discipline and control? It's like, the guy punched him in the face.
You saw that Baker had to go in and retrieve him before he got himself ejected.
Yeah, but I just don't understand. It's like that was such a clear infraction where the guy threw a punch and knocked him to the ground. If you just get up and walk away, you got the first down and you've really accomplished what you wanted to accomplish. Instead, you just,
to the ref,
And you know what pissed me off was that the defensive lineman for Denver, 96, yeah, he's standing there going like this, throw the flag, ref, throw the flag to Perriman. It's like the classic, yeah, we punched him in the face, but now we're going to bait this idiot into this because he's an idiot, Yeah. They tried to take the 100 yards away from Chubb by letting him get -4 on the final run. And I do too, Crumbly Q. Wish some of these players would use more intellect in the game instead of using it in celebration choreographies. It really is very self-obsessive, and it's not. It's like I told my wife. I said about Callaway. I said, something. If you're thinking about yourself that much in that moment, though, just you got the first down, walk off the field. Hey, Chad, how you doing in the chat room? Mr. Montes, 1104. What do you think Baker has that other quarterbacks don't? The ability. Well, no, it's not just that. I think that he's not intimidated by the losing history of the franchise, that he hasn't scoured over the record books to learn all of the different ways that the Browns have lost, that he is looking for the one way to win as opposed to the 16 ways we've lost in the past, however many years. I think he's not fixated on negative things, and he brings a fresh approach that gives us a chance to win every week. And, I think a lot of talented quarterbacks could come to Cleveland and the weight of failure would be so great on their shoulders that they would not be able to succeed. This guy, I always said this, you got to really have some serious swag to bring an 0-16 team back. Clarence Harper saying it's professional football. These are men who don't take shit from anybody, especially women on elevators. Something, if you've never at least played college football, you won't understand the players. What, that they have anger management issues? That they're assaultive people? That they're willing to play a game that will kill them at the age of 57? Bill Fralick just died at 56. This is not the norm. When you have running backs, a guy who is the best running back in the league from the University of Toledo playing for the winning Kansas City Chiefs, and he's, and he's assaulting a woman. It isn't just being on the field. This isn't happening just on the field. That's the point. The point is these people lack control. They're disheveled emotionally. And I understand it's a violent game, but my goodness, they don't have self-control. John Brown's in the chat room. Hey, Baker has pocket presence. Look how comfortable he always looks when he drops back. His velocity is good, and his accuracy is good. He knows how to read a defense. Yeah, the only thing I didn't like about Baker in the first half is he was throwing off his back foot. They were getting just enough pressure in his face that he was not stepping through. The ball was sailing on him a little bit. But no, got it done when we needed to. And I love to see that pass to Callaway in the end zone. The short little flick of the wrist thing that gets there so quick. All nice stuff. Joe Askew in the chat room. Can't get all the stupid lack of discipline out just by firing Hugh. No, of course not. It's a problem around the league. It's not just a problem in Cleveland. I'm not suggesting that, but the fact is that when you bring in a guy like Callaway, who had a lot of problems at Florida that prevented him from playing college football, you can see that his judgment is not good. And it's likely that there's going to be a problem somewhere down the road. And if you go in with zero tolerance because you draft people, their value drops to a 4th-round pick because of their behavior in college. And then they start doing this shit at the pro level and they're making money. These guys end up bouncing around the league because, they're not reliable. And, this has got to be a bunker mentality thing. These guys got to have each other's backs. And you leave your defense out on the field for 3 or 4 more plays because you're being selfish about something or you're turning the ball over because of that. You don't have the backs of your teammates. You're thinking about yourself more than you're thinking about them. And that's got to change, And that's right. The Bengals have not won a game since Hugh came back. Isn't that amazing? We're sitting here at 6-7-1 and they're 5-8. And it's like, blah. It's amazing, isn't it? Hugh.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, if you went out, do you like your chances of winning your division?
Oh, it's premature to talk about that. I mean, look, we take one step at a time. And honestly, this is like Al-Anon. That's what this is. It's just like, Weight Watchers.
I got my day 5 chip.
I know. Yeah. Hello, my name is Mr. Moohead, and I have a drinking problem.
Mr. Moohead, just imagine if you did make the storylines surrounding this team this year and you were able to win your division. I mean, just imagine what type of feel-good story that would give Cleveland this year.
It's already a feel-good story. Are you kidding? We just beat Denver in Denver on national television, and people now see that this is not a joke and this ain't lucky. We've won 4 out of 5 games. I mean, that's
just
the truth.
Fact that we got a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, it's just the fact that a team that's 0-16 has won 4 of the last 5, and we're getting better as the season rolls on. And you know what another thing that's amazing is? With the exception of the play where Duke Johnson just forgot his blocking scheme, we didn't hear Von Miller at all. We didn't hear Bradley Chubb at all.
Yeah.
This ain't no fluke, folks. The offensive line has gelled, has come into its own faster than we thought it would. It's really great. Evangelos is saying Bruce Arians said he would coach the Browns if they asked,
No retreads.
Cyprian Johnson said, is there any talk of who the next coach may be? Oh, there's lots of talk at this point, but I'll tell you one thing. Every week that goes by and we see Baker play and the team winning, there's going to be a lot more people interested.
Josh Heupel.
No, I mean, I'm just going to be looking at this and saying, Lincoln Riley is going to say, things are possible. This isn't going to be looked at as just like some loser young guy coming in. There's going to be a group of people who want to coach this team. Mike McCarthy is going to want to coach this team. We're going to have people who are going to be looking and asking for the job. So
it's going to be a long line.
It's going to be a long line. It's not
like back in the day where you had to drag their ass back for an interview,
It was like Pat Shurmur. Wasn't he the Shurmur's son? And then you have Mike Pettin. It's like, isn't that the guy whose father's a high school coach in Pennsylvania? I mean, it was like, why are we talking to him? And it's not even we talked to him. It was like we just offer the job. You ever notice that? It was like there would never be like this list, this calendar of the candidates the Browns were going to interview and when. It would be like the first guy who says yes. So you end up with Rob Chudzinski and people like that, or Condoleezza Rice, right? Ohio needs a team since Cincinnati is no good. Well, Cincinnati is, you pick your poison, and they stayed with Andy Dalton too long down there, and this is what happens.
Well,
Uh,
and
You know,
now the
Hugh
losers.
Jackson has taken 2 teams to 4th place in the division in
it's
1 year.
You know what's amazing about this is that really, when you look at this season, Hugh Jackson was battling himself for the cellar. That's really weird when you think about it.
And he won.
And he won. That's right.
Wasn't even close.
That's
So Hugh's
really-
got the dark clouds following him. That's not a good sign.
It's really, really strange. Somebody's asked me a question. Moo, how can it get better that it is right now? Well, I think the way it can get better is we establish a better pass rush, and that's getting harder around the league. It's getting harder around the league to develop a good pass rush, but we also need better defenders in the secondary. We need people with better press coverage technique. And we got to have depth at that position so we stay healthy. And if we don't stay healthy, we have better people to bring in. We need to improve our special teams. We got to have a kicker we can rely on. And we've got to figure out what we really want to do with Duke Johnson and how we want to use a second running back in this scheme and how to implement that into our offensive scheme. I think that these are all ways we can get better. And then, it's the development of, a little bit more chemistry. Right now, Brashard Perriman looks good because he's catching the football. I was very surprised he caught the touchdown pass earlier. I was surprised Njoku caught the, that little short pass over the middle that the guy was on his back. I was surprised, but we do need wide receivers because I still don't, guys who are, career busts or people who have not developed the way we'd hoped. You need more depth at the wide receiver position, and we really do need a better way of opening the field up to use Jarvis Landry more effectively, and we're paying him good money. We need to get people wide, and deep, more open. I think that's, Mr. X is saying the only thing that was odd, Denver got away with a delay of a game, yet the Browns finally beat the Broncos, and all these losing streaks are ending, and that's something to feel better about. Yeah, that was down to 0-0 the clock, and they didn't call that. That was unusual, but in a way it was kind of better because then they would decided, well, I'm just going to kick a field goal, which I thought was a little peculiar too under the set of circumstances. Had it been a penalty, it would have been that play would have been a dead ball penalty, and they would have had a chance to run third down over again. And it's a
So it ended up working out. It ended up working out for you guys. So
it did come out to our advantage. And R. Jones asked me, Moo, if you're John Dorsey, what positions do you draft with your first 2 selections next year? I mean, God Almighty, I'd love to see I'd really love to see an incredibly athletic linebacker because Jamie Collins will be gone, so, and you're not going to pay him $12 million anyway. So you need something, but you're asking me a question that I don't know what kind of free agents we're going to be lining up to and, where we're looking to bring people in as far as free agency is concerned. For example, you might decide that you might be able to find a decent free agent wide receiver and not have to draft one high, for your threat. Or, you might find that, that there isn't the linebacker you're looking for, but you can get a linebacker in free agency who's going to bring you athleticism. There's just, this is the first year where we're going to be in a position where free agents are going to want to come here. So, because
coaches.
Right now, except if you're Colin Cowherd, everybody believes that this thing is heading in the right direction. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very interested in coming to Cleveland. So that's kind of cool.
Colin actually picked us to win this game.
Did he really?
I think in his Blazing 5, he had Cleveland over Denver.
Wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Michael Kelly says, I don't see Duke as anything more than a role player. He's a perfect third down back in the NFL, nothing more. But we're not even using him in that capacity. You know what I mean? It's and he gets hurt too easily. What happened to him? Why wasn't he not back on the field again? I mean, was he hurt again? I don't know. But we stopped seeing him. He rolled off a pretty good run from scrimmage, but we didn't see him on any passing situations, really. And he did blow the one block situation where I don't know what he was doing, but that's when, the time Baker got sacked.
He normally runs that route that Chubb dropped. The ball hit Chubb in the hands that he dropped.
Yeah, but why wasn't he on the field? I guess that's my question. I didn't hear anything in the broadcast that would suggest he was hurt, but you wonder because he is repeatedly slow getting up after plays.
He did take a big hit when he had that 15-yard run.
Yeah. El Swifto is asking me, do you keep Greg Williams if they stay hot? As a male concubine for the players, yes. No.
He's the shower boy.
A cabana boy. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm
You'll
so
be walking up and down the sideline saying Gatorade.
Yeah, leader of men. This is a man's game.
Him to you give Derek a new lung.
Yeah, leader of men. This is nothing short of military. If you've got to have belief in what you're doing to get the people who are playing for you and performing for you to believe in the plan.
Hey, just imagine if Baker Mayfield was playing in the first game. I know we go these what ifs, but y'all probably have a very fair lead over your opponents.
No. I mean, Baker Mayfield himself discredited that too. And he played at the exact right moment that he was going to play. He would have been ruined. And if Todd Haley and Hugh didn't go at the same time, one of them would have survived. And it would have been Haley, and Haley was ruining Baker. Okay? Baker didn't like him. So everything lined up. The stars lined up perfectly. I think fans have to understand that the Freddie Kitchens thing was a perfect timing for Baker, and it was a perfect timing for Freddie. And getting rid of Hugh and Haley at the same time was the right thing to do because both of them had enemies on both sides of the locker room. And it was not a healthy situation. And
everybody circled the Jets game as a good game for possibly seeing Baker versus Darnold. So that was a really good spot, I think, for him to come in.
Yeah, I mean, and he said the same thing. I think he said the same thing. He was a believer that it wouldn't have worked out the same way if he had played earlier. So I think everybody goes home happy in this. I think that it's great for the team. 6 wins.
Do you have a surreal feeling on the panel? Like, are you guys going through this emotions? Like, I can't believe we're in this position right now.
No, you know what I think, and I can't speak for my buddies on the panel here, but and I'll ask each of them. I can tell you how I feel. The way I feel is that we finally have a quarterback after we've been waiting decades and decades and decades for one, and this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the way professional football teams who develop young quarterbacks are supposed to look, and this is the direction it's supposed to take. Does anyone of the how do the people on the panel, Rick? How do you see it?
Well, we finally got, after all these years, we finally got ourselves a general manager who knows how to build a team properly.
Yep.
It's just a matter now of, building up the depth, like the offensive line. We need depth there. We need some, depth in the receivers. We've got some tier 2 receivers, but we could use a tier 1. That would really be nice. But we're now making Cleveland an interesting place to watch football, and we're going to hopefully bring in some more people to either play for the team or to coach. And I think Dorsey is the man to do the right job and get the right guy to coach us next year.
D-man?
Yep.
Derek? All right.
Meanwhile,
Go ahead, Rick.
I said, meanwhile, Tyrod Taylor's probably somewhere on the side of a milk carton.
All
I haven't
right.
heard or seen him in days.
Here's how I look at this. If you look at the big picture, it's a step-by-step plan. Number one, bring in Dorsey. They got the right guy. Number two, get the right players. Clearly got the best quarterback. Check that off your list. That's a major check. 3, you finally got rid of the cancers on the team, and now it's just a matter of next step, building it, next step, coach, next step. You got to take it one thing at a time. Like Baker said, you're not going to have a full 360 or 180 turn overnight. It's going to take time, and that's the whole point of the steps they took and bringing in, John.
Yep. I mean, it's Brian. How do you feel? I mean, does any of this surprise you, really?
Well, if you think back to the preseason, I said that they would win between 7 and 9 games, and I was scoffed at. So,
yeah, and I'd be the first to admit that I gave them an upside of 6, but I was really much more believing they'd be a 5-11 team, and that's what I felt going in. And but I felt that they would be a 5-11 team that would start out maybe a little slow. And instead, they got off to a fast start, and I was like, whoa! And then that horrible middle where I felt, oh my God, we're heading in the wrong direction. So I would never have thought that we were going to turn out to be a 6 or 7 or 8 win team by starting great in the beginning, going flat in the middle, and then coming on so strong at the end. I wouldn't have predicted that at all. Not even near that. So my prediction was wrong. Nothing new there. I want to point out. Go ahead.
I don't think you get nearly as many wins if they kept Jackson and Haley. I feel like by getting rid of them, that was like the next level step that needed to take to get this kick started back on the road it needed to go.
or keeping Taylor at the quarterback as the starting quarterback. He couldn't have won any of these other games that Baker's won or kept them in.
Now, I want to point something out real quickly that has nothing to do with the Browns game, but I'm seeing this headline. That Trevor Ariza, that the Lakers were interested in Trevor Ariza, but Ariza was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, right? I want you to hear this story. Say what?
I thought he traded the Wizards, but it was Memphis.
Here's to the Wizards. You're right. Ariza.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Get this. Wallace, the general manager of the Grizzlies, said the 3-way trade involving the Suns and the Wizards had been agreed upon, and they were very clear about who was in the trade. The agreement would have sent Ariza and 2 Grizzlies second-round picks to the Wizards, Washington's Kelly Oubre to Memphis, and Washington guard Austin Rivers and Memphis forward Wayne Selden to the Suns. But it has unraveled, as the Grizzlies believed the agreement also included Marshawn Brooks, and the Suns insisted Dylan Brooks was involved. Both Brookses are Memphis swingmen, and their stats aren't that different, but Marshawn is 29-year-old journeyman, and Dylan is 22, started all 74 games last season as a rookie. Wallace said on Saturday that Dylan Brooks was not involved in the trade. He also told the media that someone from the Suns or Wizards leaked the deal while the Grizzlies were playing the Miami Heat. That forced me to do something I've never done in 30-plus years of working in the league with 7 teams, is to drag 2 players out of a locker room to tell them they'd been traded, and then have to come back and tell them, oh, I was wrong, you haven't been traded.
Ooh. That's the Steve Harvey Miss America thing right there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
It really is. Now, Phoenix privately insisted it had direct conversations with Grizzlies officials on Dylan Brooks, not Marshawn, which Memphis flatly denies, according to Woj's reporting. But the bottom line is that the deal didn't get done. I swear to God, if Ariza ends up with the Lakers and that the league buried this trade through this nonsense, that'll be everything I need to hear, just to stop talking about that fucking league forever.
I thought he ended up getting traded.
Oh, right now I'm just reading off what the most recent information is, that they're furious. They're furious about the whole thing. that the trade didn't happen.
Yeah, never mind. I read that wrong. I'm looking at my notifications.
Here's your headline on ESPN. It wasn't pretty, but the Browns are still in the playoff hunt for at least one more night. Yeah, thank you, ESPN. Yeah. Let me tell you something. A lot of things that aren't pretty about ESPN. I can tell you a bunch of them.
By the way, I apologize because I'm sick. So, I understand I'm coughing and all that a lot, but it's...
Yeah, what's the matter? What's the story here?
Well, I woke up and I woke up and I went to work, came back, and I was sick, so...
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Derek. That's,
Hey, I'm dedicated. Can't miss a show.
Hey, yeah. And by the way, for people who are asking how my knee's doing, I pushed it a little hard today, a little bit too hard. And I was walking without my walker, and I'm just like, nah, I shouldn't have done that. So a little bit sore, a little bit achy today. So I stopped, and it's a little bit warm to the touch, and it's a little sore that it's been. So I'm going to take my pain pill before I go to sleep, and I'm going to go easy and baby it tomorrow and, start all over again. So, hey, it's only been 1 week since it was hacked in half. So the way I look at it is, I'm walking around the house without a walker, and it's like, nah, I think it's just a little bit more weight bearing than this needs right now. I just got to be slow and be patient. So, but other than that, it's doing good. I'm very, very pleased. And I'm ready to go to bed now. So, and that means, the pain pill is calling to me when I'm calling you.
Go get your beauty rest.
Yeah, I'll show you the pain pill. Here, this is the pain pill.
What are you taking, Mr. Muhead?
A motherfucking horse pill. Motherfucking horse pill. It's a horse pill. Gee, Wilbur, that would knock me on my ass. No, it
looks like 500 milligrams.
No, it's a 7.
Are you a doctor, Steven?
So what?
I said, are you a doctor, Steven?
No, because I was prescribed the 500 milligrams of Vicodin, and I saw the size of that. It looked like 500 milligrams.
I like Vicodin. Do you want to come over? No, it's not. This is hydrocodone. Which is Norco is what they call the drug. And it's 7.5 milligrams of narcotic, the fun part, and then 325 milligrams of acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. And what the Tylenol does is it makes that narcotic painkiller work better. So it's a 7.5 milligram, it's Norco. Hydrocodone. It doesn't fuzz my head or anything like that. And really, I was kind of cutting back on my dosage, but then I worked my knee a little bit too hard. It's like you can't burn the candle at both ends. So, but I'm going to go to sleep and sleep well. I'm happy my Browns won. I'm not happy with Greg Williams, but the pill will take that away. That's the beauty of it. It's like I won't even think about his indecision and any of that. It'll just make me feel
got
so
the
good.
W. That's what matters.
That's what matters.
Mr.
Guys,
I got a lot of that. Morphine's a ticket, though. That morphine's a ticket, man.
Well, I'm sure that it's the ticket for you, but something, I want to wake up tomorrow. No, I'm going to try to get off this shit as soon as possible because it's not a place you really want to be. But I'll tell you, to get the knee back functioning again, it's worth 2 weeks of hydrocodone. I don't want to go beyond 2 weeks of it. And once you get to that point, then you really back off the stuff and you just start taking things like, your Celebrex and that. You got to suck it up a little bit pain-wise.
As long as you can walk better than Alex Smith right now, I think you'll be doing good.
Oh, I think that would include a lot of people. I think Stephen Hawking, and he's dead. At any rate, guys, thanks a lot.
Laugh at that.
No, that's not funny. Thanks, everybody, for joining me on the show. Way to go, Browns. I'm thrilled. I'm happy. We'll have an opportunity Monday to talk about this, and I'll be my jet's full of cool about Greg Williams, and we'll talk about all the wonderful, positive things that have happened as a result of this win. Guys, thanks for joining me. I'm going to bed now. That's it for the post-game show. We'll be back again Monday on Moohead Radio, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until then. Moo. Hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night. Way to go, Browns. Yeah.